guys, it's Stargirl and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we will be doing a 3-pile pick a card on what great things will be coming to you soon, what good news, new spiritual revelations or upgrades for yourself. We have pile 1 with Kakashi Sensei from the anime Naruto. And that is with the Mystical Shaman deck. We have pile number 2 with Attack on Titan, little trio, Eren Yeager, you know what I'm saying? And then pile 3, we have All Might with the Good Tarot from My Hero Academia. So I will give you 30 seconds to a minute to decide whatever pile is calling your name. And let's get started. Hello, my sweethearts of pile number 1. You chose Kakashi Sensei from Naruto, and you chose the Mystical Shaman. So what we will be doing is a 4-pile spread, and then we will do a higher self messages, which is our higher consciousness and what they have to say about the situation or the news. And then we will be doing and using InTAROTgation deck for asking yourselves questions to further get answers, because as most spiritual leaders say, and as I do as well, the most answers that we will find are within ourselves and not in our outer world. And so to get those answers, we need to ask ourselves specific questions. So let's get to shuffling. I hope you guys are doing well. A big reason on why I wanted to do a reading like this was because I feel like we're all kind of going through tower moments or have gone through tower moments this past October. If you are seeing this by the time I upload, or just like any remnants of like the fall and fallouts and things like that. And I just think we all need to look forward to some good news, especially with what is going on in the world. So yeah. What good things are coming to pile number 1, Spirit? What good things are coming to pile number 1? Ooh, that was a lot. Okay, so we have the drum, the medicine wheel, fire, and flow. All right, so we have here the drum energy with number 6. And we have the medicine wheel with energy number 8. And we have fire with the energy of number 1. And then we have flow with the energy number 2. If you hear my cat sneezing, he's a little sick, so don't mind him. As well as I have a family, so my daughter might come out here. If you hear her, you know, just embrace a little family vibe there. So I want to talk about the drum here with number 6. 6 does talk about success, abundance, but mainly things that you love to do. I'm definitely sensing that like you have been manifesting a different life for yourself, and it's just been really hard to feel like that's going to happen for you, especially because of all the rough energy that's just been going on. And almost feeling like your world has taken a dip. And I think you're recognizing a lot that there's always like either good or bad happening in your life, like kind of in a yin and yang situation. But I think what Spirit is like wanting you to understand is that like relatively we don't ever like live a good or bad life, or we don't relatively have like good or bad moments. I definitely can tell you're a person that like sees the good and the bad, but sometimes it's hard to not get caught up in thinking that like, well, this moment's good and this moment's bad. I think a big life lesson that you are learning and like accepting is that life is going to be hard and it's going to have its good moments and bad moments, but that like those bad moments aren't actually bad. And like transformation and change and like death like has always brought you beautiful blessings and beautiful transformations, and it's hard to accept that because it feels like there's like this type of rejection or abandonment, like your past self wasn't good enough, or like, oh, like I guess I must not be ready for what I want right now, and like why am I not good enough? And the thing is, it's the universe isn't like trying to test you to see, are you worthy enough? It doesn't pick or choose. You're the one who picks and chooses if you're worthy enough. So if you don't feel worthy enough and you're telling the universe, well, I guess I must not be worthy enough if my blessings aren't coming through, that's really you just speaking out of your shadow self. With the medicine wheel here, we have the energy of 8. And 8 symbolizes like abundance, okay? It symbolizes good karma as well. So the good news and good things that are coming to you is this good karma. With the drum as well, that almost talks about like a finale, like something that just like wakes you up. Like it's just like your life is going to do like a whole 180. And like the drum, or like almost like I'm imagining like a gong, where it's like it's a calling to you where you like absolutely understand and know what it means. And it's almost like that, you know how that saying, or like if you've seen those posts that it's like your time will come or whatever, and it's almost like that. It's almost like you're just like waiting, like sitting waiting for everybody else and seeing everyone else have their turn, and then like boom, like once your name is called, or once like it's your time, you're like, oh my god, like it's time. And know that this won't come in like as you can see, this person is hitting the gong by themselves. Like they're the ones that are doing it. So you don't need a sign from the universe to have this. Like you are the one that gets up, looks at it, picks up the whatever tool or whatever you need, and like hitting that gong and that drum, and knowing that like you are not conventional, okay? So like all those people that may seem like they have their shit together and they have like a step-by-step plan, or like that's what they teach and preach, and like good for them, that's great, but you're supposed to live your life unconventionally. And that can be really hard because it's like it still feels like, well, I still don't know what I'm supposed to do. And it's because you've been living on like autopilot and just doing what others have done, because you're like, okay, that's safe, that's comfortable. But as you can see, they're like are dressed in like bird, and like a bird tribal way, and it's like you need to have the freedom. You need to spread your wings, see the bigger picture, and see how much you control. Because when you're a little bird in the nest, you don't get get signs like, okay, like this is the day that I need to jump out of the tree and try and use my wings. Like almost like that little chick that's like the last one left after everyone else has like gone. And almost like a lot in like old animation like Tom and Jerry, where like that little bird, oh my gosh, no, if you have seen Tinkerbell, there is a scene where like she's trying to help a bird learn how to fly because she's trying to explore different talents because she doesn't like her own. And the little bird like refuses to get out of the shell and even like tries to put itself back in the shell. And it's almost like spirits like Tinkerbell like trying to like come on, like let's go, like come on. And like the little bird's like, no, like you're not the right sign. You're like how Tinkerbell's technically not the right fairy, not the right talent to have her do that. And it's just like Tinkerbell is an innovative fairy, right? and doing something that's not in her comfort zone. Anyway, not to go on a rant about about fairies, but yeah. So we have the medicine wheel, like I said, with 8. I want to go back to that. So the serpent here represents transformation, and this talks about transformation from the past and being able to look at your past dead in the face and be like, okay, I accept you. You are as you are. And like sometimes that can make your past, or like that reactionary part of your past, like, oh, like so angry and like chaotic and just like upset because you're like, no, don't leave me, stop, like not having your trauma on a pedestal. And here with the jaguar, this talks about the spirit of the jaguar is somebody, not somebody, but just the energy of it is opening up your heart and surrendering it, and like being the one to initiate and like follow your heart and do what you need to do, and it be honorable. And the medicine wheel talks about like the cardinal directions, with the south representing the past and west, oh my gosh, and the west representing like things that you need to release, let go of, toxic environments, people, behaviors, things like that. And with the spirit of the jaguar, just like being on that side, it's like sometimes we can feel like that has to be dramatic, or that has to like happen in this like really unfulfilling and just like confrontational and icky like kind of way. And it's saying that like you can still keep your confidence here, like with the yellow, and like feel confident in yourself and humble about it, and still do it, and just like be more gentle with yourself when this stuff kind of happens, because you're not a confrontational person. Here with the north, we have the hummingbird, and that represents like travel as well as like this like mothership, and needing to be more gentle with yourself by like embracing your feminine energy. And we all have feminine and masculine sides to us. Your right side of your body is masculine and your left side of your body is feminine. Regardless of gender, we all like have these feminine and masculine energies. And your feminine energy needs to be expressed more onto yourself, not to others. You don't need to nurture other people. You don't need to like be this caretaker, but more so with yourself. And with it pointing north, this is talking about going to your purpose. So you really badly want to do something purposeful, do something fulfilling, something that like makes your heart feel fulfilled and like feel proud of yourself. And even though the hummingbird is small, those wings and like are so strong, and it will always venture to the sweetest places. And Spirit is saying that believe and have faith that like what's for you in the future is like completely different from your past. Like from this south and north, like that's a literal 180. So that is what your life is going to feel like. And then we have the eagle here, which more bird symbolism representing freedom. And like the East talks about your future and like going into that. And I feel like a lot of this deals with like your roots and like this becoming your new normal, and like feeling like, wow, like I totally deserve this. And that like pain and like suffering and trauma isn't you, and it isn't like what you have been through isn't like something you have to wear as like a medal that like, wow, I went through this. Like I feel like in society we kind of put our trauma on a pedestal and then work from there, when really it's like that needs to kind of like be moved on from. And if you feel like you can't move on from it, it's because you need to heal it. And that's what the whole medicine wheel is talking about. So there's going to be this like healing. And it's not something that I guess you, like it's a partnership with spirit about this part of healing. You have to do your part and they will do their part. With fire here, this comes with one energy. So this is like the motivation, the spark, the like, oh my God, like, I'm just gonna do it. Fire represents action. Um, and like, as you can see, we have like the heart here, and it's burning, like it's yearning to just like be expressed. But the thing here with it, it's like, it's not like it's gonna burn anybody, it's not gonna hurt anybody. And with like one energy that's talking about new beginnings, you starting with yourself and allowing that inspiration to be in your physical, because it's all in your mind. Like, it's something that it's like, either if you like do try to work on it, there's just like this feeling where it's like you're not really sure about it. So like, again, you'll still like look for signs instead of just trusting that the only sign you need is the motivation, confirmation that like the fact that you want to do it is all that you need for a sign. And I feel like growing up, you were always either told what to do or just didn't live for yourself. And like the things that like you had to learn to find fulfilling, like it's like they lost their touch, because like once it's like you were either pressured to start it or like it was for somebody else, eventually, like even if someone pressures you into it, or like they felt like, oh my gosh, like you will make me so happy if you do this for me, it's like it loses a touch for them too. Like they stop paying attention to you and your achievements of it, because it's like they vicariously either want to live through you, or and like when they accept that like, okay, like their successes aren't mine, they kind of don't pay attention to it or give it any acknowledgement, because like it hurts them. And they also like, it's like a grudge in a way. That might be for a few of you. But then we have flow here with 2. So this talks about needing to come to a solid decision. I feel like you are kind of like torn between like what you feel you should do. And again, like I said, we probably have some Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. Yeah, Scorpio and Sagittarius, Leo, and Capricorn. So with the flow here, this talks about being in flow with spirit and being in flow with life. I feel like the moon phases definitely are important, and you may want to like see how your emotions and your behavior is linked to the moon phases, because here we have a full moon, and it's like maybe you do full moon rituals, and like you are someone who actually does participate in like some magic or sorcery of some sort, or even like manifesting, even if it's like not like you're a very spiritual person, but like manifesting for your life, because you're like, okay, like at least I do know something's out there and I do know something does work. But I feel like this flow is like talking about also being in flow with your heart and allowing your heart space to be expressed. Excuse me. And as you can see, like this is very feminine. This is feminine energy. And the moon also represents the feminine energy. And a lot what I talk about too, like on my Instagram, which is at Stargirl, the same as my YouTube, a little shameless self promo there, is that like we find comfort in like in the dark. Who do we call to? Which is the mother, right? And in the womb, in that dark place, there's this warmth and there's this acceptance and there's this new life. And it's the same here. Even if you have like a damage, like I want to say mommy issues, that it can be hard to connect emotionally, or even if like that wasn't really represented for you in your life, that can be hard. But yeah, with the 2, it also like, you know, can like represents like union and unionship. And maybe there's this like call to release like failed past relationships in general, like just like things that like haven't really worked out. I'm just like sensing that like passion and like intimacy and emotional connection can be like really hard for you. And I think a big thing, a big thing that you're coming into is realizing that you are worthy of love, and that like you can call out to the higher vibrational relationship that you are searching for. And almost like source is gonna force this if you do it or not. And like why the drum is there, it's like trying to get your attention, and then eventually it's like boom, 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 like it's time is now. You need to release this. You are gonna go through this, and but it's going to be so fulfilling. Like this isn't something scary. This change isn't going to be scary. The good news that it's going to come out of this is you're going to be more in flow with your heart. You're going to not feel so attached to your past, and you're just going to be and do what you need to do. So let's get some higher message cards here for the drum. And this is great. Like, this is really good news. Don't like feel like, I feel like there is a lot of pressure with this. Yeah. With this fire, you feel a lot of pressure to like show up, and you don't want to fail. And like, even if like failure isn't like the very specific thing that like makes you, it's just like a lot of fear and pressure. And I feel like, there's just been a lot of like down talk on you, where you have felt like it didn't matter what you felt inside. You needed to be realistic, and your reality isn't the same as other people's. So your realisticness isn't going to be the same as others, and that's okay. Oh, I will meet new people. I want people to get to know me. I am confident with who I am to share myself with others. That is literally so beautiful. Oh my God. I love that. Yeah. I kind of sense that this was like a leaving of like either a person or just like, yeah, a person, and like you're moving into this north part. You were like southeast. Right now you're like northwest. And you're gonna be coming out of that, like out of the like in between. Let's get a higher message for the medicine wheel. My heart and lungs is made of water. I will drink more water to replenish what my body needs. Right. So true. I feel like a lot of us don't drink enough water, even though we should keep in mind that we're like made of 97% of water or something like that. And I feel like this medicine wheel is just really calling you to be more gentle with yourself, and like be more kind to yourself and loving towards yourself. Sorry if those cards were like not in the shot. I honestly do not know. I pulled them down just a little bit, but anyways, right, taking care of yourself a lot more. And the thing is, I feel a spirit is saying is like a lot of your abundance hasn't been given to you, because it's like, how are we gonna give you this big thing that you ask when the person that you are, when you embody what you want, is somebody who does take care of themselves, who does eat well? And it's a balance to get all those things together. I feel like life has kind of been lived at like, I'm just going to concentrate on this, because like it's too much anxiety, again, too much pressure to have like all your energy sorted out into different things. And also with the cardinal direction, like there's so many circles here. So this talks about cycles coming to an end, as well as cycles coming into a new beginning. And so like with this cycle, with this close and a new cycle coming, Spirit also wants me to know that, like, you're already whole. I know, like, the whole medicine wheel came out, and it's like sometimes it can feel like defeating when we're like, it feels like you're being told to work on yourself more when you feel like you've already put so much work into yourself. But this is not what Spirit is saying. Spirit is saying you've done the work. There is just some, maybe just some reflection and just things that still affect your work ethic and, like, what you want to do. And, like, that's all they want to talk about. Like, know that you've been doing so well, and they congratulate you, and they're so proud of you. And that, yes, like, life does continue. It makes me think of that one TikTok audio. I'm sure it's a song too, and just thing or whatever. But, where it's like, even if you're not ready for the day, it can't always be night. And that is so true, because it's like, you so focus on the future that by the time, like, you need to sleep, it's like, oh, like, I am being kept up by tomorrow. And then by the time you do fall asleep and it's the next day, you're like, oh my God, like, no, I need more sleep. Like, I just got adjusted to the past state I was in. And then it's starting ready for the day, and you just don't feel ready. So what higher self message can we get for the fire? So we got 2. I will ground myself more. I will walk on grass the next moment that I can. Yes, grounding yourself and not being so in your head, because if you want to manifest things that are in the physical, you can't be, like, in your head. I am ready to level up. My next steps will be, right, so this is like, it's time to start planning. It's time to start doing, no matter what that looks like. It's not like you sit down and you're like, okay, I know exactly what step 1 through 10 is. You can work on step 1 as long as you need, but know that you don't have to stay there. Like, you can continue, like, okay, like, I have a little bit of step 2 figured out. I have a little bit of step 3 figured out. Like, just do and just be, okay? Like, you don't have to plan every single thing out. Like, back in the old days, like, you know what I mean? People didn't plan out their day. There wasn't a schedules. There wasn't working like that. And obviously there is now. And I feel like with us awakening and knowing our worth, there's just this resentment of not having enough time. And just, like, feeling, excuse me, sorry. Sometimes I'll burp or, like, something like that, like, source confirms for me that, like, what I'm saying is right. But that, like, you're leveling up and, like, you being ready, like, you don't have to be held by your own institutions or other institutions, and don't let them have that power. Okay. So, what higher message can we get for the flow? Sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm feeling creative. What can I do to express this valuable side of me? Right? Like, you want to create. You want to be a creative person. And, like, you didn't just, like, come here to not, like, do anything, to not accomplish anything. And I feel like there also might be this anxiety because you knew that from the beginning. Like, you always knew you were here to do something really important. All right, so let's get some questions that you can ask yourself here with the drum that can, like, further help you get answers outside of this reading. So what questions can you group 1, pile 1, ask themselves? Oops. Right, what important decision should I be considering? So what important decision should you be considering? This is definitely talking about a home situation. and like a certain connection. Yeah. And with the whole I will meet new people, I want people to get to know me. Yeah, this is talking about endings and like moving on. So the medicine wheel, what message can we get? Sorry if you also hear beeping, it's my baby monitor. It's out of battery. What skill can I develop that will be beneficial in my future? Awesome. So, yeah, this is like with the how I said that you're more like northwest. This is talking about like, okay, now that I'm like getting rid of things that I don't need, like, and now that I'll have time more to myself and to focus on myself and like important like information you want to learn. Um, this talks about honing in your skill for your purpose and for what you want to create. Yeah, and that's what this is talking about. Let's see, what question can we get for the fire? And next steps, leveling up. How can I attract more abundance in my life? Right. So this is like something where like you want to do something passionate and be able to take care of yourself. This definitely feels like more like a whole like life 180. Like I said, like you definitely want to change your life. You want to change not worrying about your past. You want to change the people in your life. You want to change and be on the correct path with your purpose, and look forward to your future. And like these questions like that you can help ask yourself during deep meditation or journaling, you will get those answers. You just have to try and put in the effort with the fire here. Try, do the action. You're not sitting down and just thinking of things. You're not going to like, even when you sit down and like think of things either while you're on your phone or you just get a random download, like those aren't going to stick unless you give it the attention it needs. So what questions can we ask ourselves for the creative flow? Okay, so we got 2. What does my family desire or need at this time? So this definitely feels like this is talking about generational thing, as well as like this is kind of like a question that you may ask yourself, because maybe you were like the oldest of your family, or if you were the youngest, you were somehow a support for your parents, or you were some support in a family dynamic where you didn't need to be. And so you're always worried about and thinking about how your family is going to perceive your decisions. And maybe like the new transitions may include children or like prior commitments like a pet or something like that. And there's just like that anxiety about it too. Because we can almost feel like, well, if I had a pet with this person, like, or if like, you know, that must mean we have to stay together, you know? And it's just like kind of not realistic. But I'm definitely sensing this is bigger than you. Like, yes, like your life like is very curated to you, but know that like we also come from past lives. If you do believe that, I'm not gonna like shove my beliefs in your face, but this is just what I'm picking up, and you know what I talk about in my spirituality, is that like in our past lives and just like ancestral trauma, that like your ancestors need you to do this. So this helps release them from a lot of karmic cycles. Here 8 karma. Oh my gosh, this is yeah. And like they're begging you to do this and to leave and to go, because your life will just feel everything that you wanted with this person or this like situation, nothing is going to come out of it. And like everything that you had wanted and expected from this person, you'll find in yourself and in new situations. So, oh yeah, how can I attract a partner that will align with my highest self? Pile number 1 is definitely going through a breakup. Some of you are, at least, and some of you are being more open to love and like realizing that, you know what, I don't have to be lonely. I can love myself and like also love another person. I will add that connections here with Kakashi are that like with his past, he pleased people in his past. If you watch Naruto, you know that when he was in the Anbu, like, yes, his skills and like parts of himself were being expressed, and people are like, oh my gosh, like you are so dope, like you are a legend, you are an icon. And almost like he didn't even, like, he was too good for it. And it's just like people put him in a box, and even past actions that he did, people still defined him for that and be like, no, like, that's just you. And it's just like, there's more to you than maybe the traumatic things that have happened to you, like Kakashi. And like with him, like his life did a whole 180, like being the leader of Team 7 with Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura. Like, trust me, when like that wasn't something he expected to do. Like when he was in the Anbu, like he was a straight up like assassin in that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, and here like he changed his purpose and like what his skills could bring to the table, and delved into the things that he liked and found things that he liked, especially with the series of books he reads. Like, it's definitely unconventional of him, but he still does it because he doesn't care. And there may even be reminders of like your past, like with him with his eye. It's a reminder of his past and he carries it with him. And there may be this like takeaway from his character that is like, once, even though that scar remained or whatever, and he went on his path, he still had to come back to it because it was never resolved. But he saw it in a different perspective and saw why things happened the way that they did. So let's use Love Ascended to get any messages, just last minute messages that either confirms everything that we just talked about, or just like kind of adds its own little, since this deck is so small, it's hard to shuffle, especially with nails. Visiting your dreams. Pay attention to dreams and their messages. So I think this has been trying to tell you that like your emotional deep state wants you to leave. Even though that's like a hard truth, I feel like there's just been a lot of panic in your dreams and just like a lot of like signs that like make you uncomfortable, and just like scenarios that might be playing over like a cycle, with this whole like circle imagery here, like just like the same shit over again. And it's just like, what? Like, I thought I moved past this. And it's like, because you aren't changing your conditions, you're not going to move past it. So let's see what we have here for the medicine wheel. Vice. Be mindful of negative and toxic behavior. Shadow work may be necessary. Right. So how, like I said, I feel that like you're in the vibe of Northwest is because the West represents things that we need to get rid of. And like, it's like they want you to move on to the skill, into yourself and things that you can develop. But there are toxic behaviors. There is like the throat chakra here. I feel like you're not speaking up for yourself enough. And like the people pleasing is something that like gets you. Like when your truth isn't being spoken, like it's showing up in your dreams, like with the blue here. And it can be very uncomfortable. And like, I totally get what you mean. I can definitely relate to this pile. So mask off. The true self is being projected to the outside world, right? So the good news and good transformation coming for you is that you will get through this. You have felt these emotions before. You can get through them again. You will have your mask off and you will feel ready and prepared to be who you need to be for yourself. And that's something to note. Let's just see the questions here if you want to write those down. Let's see, last card. Crossroads, torn between more than one path. Right. So that's what I thought. Because we have the 2 here, which talks about indecisiveness and decisions. And it's just like, you're torn between like, okay, so like, what can I, figuring out what you can bring to the table, your strengths here with the plus, the abundance, like how you view yourself as, like, as here we have like a diamond shape. So like being a diamond in the rough, like, so what does it mean to be a diamond in the rough? What does it mean to be this unique? And what does it mean to be creative in my own sense? And that is truly something you have to figure out on your own, because that's what's going to make it so much more fulfilling when you figure this out. So right now is when you do need to choose and make a decision, and know that you will choose the right decision, because you do love yourself and you do care for yourself enough. Even if there is some like toxicness, like, you do care about yourself enough to be able to get yourself through this. So yeah, that is all we have for pile number 1. I hope these messages I hope these messages resonated for you. And good luck to you and your endeavors. Hey, my pile number 2, you chose the Attack on Titan characters, Eren Yeager, Levi, and oh my goodness, starts with an M. Shit, I don't got time to think about it. Miss Saki. Oh shoot. Oh my god. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Right. So whoever chose this pile, I know you're like a good anime fan. You're like, I like quality anime. Okay. And I feel like your life kind of reflects like needing that good news, needing that stability. You may be seeing 333 a lot as well. Just a thought, you know? So what we will be doing is what good news or good things are going to be coming your way. And we will be using the higher self deck to get messages from your higher self, like your future self that knows like any advice that you could get from the situation, more clarity. And then we will use the Love Ascended deck, interrogation deck, to get questions you can ask yourself to further find answers for yourself on your own time outside of this reading. And then we'll use Love Ascended to either confirm or see new messages that Spirit has for you. So what good things... Okay. Well, that was actually reversed. What good things are going to come to pile number 2? What good things? All right. And, okay. What good things are... All right. So I'm going to let both of those... it's one more than the other piles, but that's okay. Okay. Okay, so we have the Temperance here in reverse. This is what it looks like upright, just so you can see the artwork. And then we have the Queen of Swords in reverse. This is what it looks like upright. Also, if you hear my daughter in the background, she just woke up from her nap, so just excuse her. And then we have the Page of Swords. We have the Lovers in reverse. And then we have the Fool. Okay, so what I'm getting from, I don't know why I just got like the quote from Joker, like, why so serious? And I'm kind of getting those vibes with you, definitely getting some Virgo, Gemini, Cancer, Pisces and Taurus, as well as some Aquarius. Oh, Aquarius for sure, yeah. So this Temperance is in reverse. So Temperance is kind of like a waiting game. It's about patience. And the good news or good thing that's going to be coming to you, that Spirit is saying, is the waiting will be over. There will be a lot more clarity that will come to you. I feel like you have been waiting for some news or something for a really long time. It's something that has been in your mind for a really long time and something that you've been trying to like control, and like disguising that as like, no, I'm just like, I just know what I want. Like, I'm trying to like, there's just like this like need for control and like weaving in, like putting your energy towards a little bit of this and then a little bit of that, like almost like a little bit of manipulation. And like, obviously that can kind of sting when you hear like, if someone's like, oh my God, you're being manipulative. And it's not even like, it's not bad. It's just like a kind of a defense mechanism and it doesn't define you. With the Queen of Swords here in reverse, like this talks about like you feeling like things are just like calming down for you, and that even may be in your like reactions to other people and the way that you like perceive life. I feel like you have always like gone through this like way of living where it's like, okay, like you're just like a very cutthroat person. And I feel like it's always been a defense mechanism because you've always needed to protect yourself. And like, you know, like a part of standing in your truth for a really long time was like, I need to be right. And it's not like you're telling other people like, you need to do this, you need to do that, but like saying like, okay, like you just need to accept me for who I am. And like, I'm proud of who I am. So I'm just like that, like, those are good traits, trust me. But like sometimes like the Queen of Swords, that type of energy is very cutthroat, very like cold shoulder-ish. And I feel like it's kind of like taken a toll on you. With the Page of Swords here, this is kind of like reinventing how you approach other people, how you approach life. This has to all do about perception and perspective. And like, I feel like you have like this inkling in yourself that like this isn't the way that I am. Like, I'm conditioned to this. And like the ego wants to tell you like, no, this is who you are, like just Aquarius vibes, just like Virgo vibe, like, you know what I'm saying, like oh, like no, this is just who I am, like. And it's like most people, like the toxic thing about when people say that, like, but I'm just Scorpio things, but it's like over something that's like the low vibration or the low frequency of that sign. When it's like all the traits of the zodiacs all have a high vibrational way of being. And a lot of us can relate to the low vibration because most of us have been living in a low vibrational state. And with the earth and the systems of society, like, are low vibration. So it's like, it's definitely not your fault. And I feel like you have made it your fault, and you've made it like this part of your identity that I'm just a cutthroat person. This is just who I am. Like, you want to call me a bitch, call me a bitch. And I feel like lately, with all the tire moments that have been going on and that deals with like relationship, friendships, you have kind of realized like, like, I don't know if this is who I want to be anymore. I don't know if I identify with this in your heart center. Because your mind can totally be like, yes, let's go. Like, I'm like, you just can't handle me. Like, but that's not really something that I want to say inside you feel proud of, or like soulfully feel proud of. And I feel like the good news or good things that are coming your way is this huge transformation where like people are not even going to know who you are. Like, you will do a whole 360, and that's why it goes from a Queen of Swords in reverse to a Page of Swords upright, because it's like, you know what? I'm starting over. I am starting over. And like, I feel like people mistake the masculine energy as like people assume that the masculine energy is what it's been presented in society, which is like this like just mean and like awful, like incompetent and just like selfish like type of energy, when in reality the masculine energy is a shepherd. They're somebody, they are a leader. And I think the thing that you're getting confused is that like when people have like called you cutthroat or whatever and stuff like that, like I feel like a great quality that has like blended into that is you're just like a natural leader. You're a natural person that like people want to listen to, and the way that you treat other people, like the energy, like you affect people very much, and you know that. And I feel like a good reason why you were the Queen of Swords in that regards is because like I said, it's a defense mechanism, and it's like, okay, like at least I don't have to fear anybody, even though you fear people, but it's like people don't know that. And like you would use confrontation as a means to like it's emotions that you should have been dealing on your own without having to go to the third party, second party, whatever, to figure it out, because it's only just going to make you more upset. And I think like there's not a lot of patience for you in that regard. And I think as well, like with the Lovers here, you've made it, with the Lovers here in reverse, you've made it just like a part of your identity. The red ribbon here represents the need to control, but it also does represent good luck. As you can see, like they are really bound by control, and so like the people that you do admire and do love, like there's like a big sense of loyalty here. There might be even some Leos here, but like there's just like this deep sense of loyalty. And you have a masculine wound, whether this was from an absent father or even if your father was present, the energy was more low vibrational. And like as you can see, there's like a higher being like shooting these arrows to tell you like, don't forget that your body has kept score of all this like hurt and all this like attachment. And with the coverings on the eyes, it's like you've been blind to certain connections or certain ways of life. And almost like you see how they both have like things like on their arms. Like obviously when you're chaotic, you attract chaoticness, and you feel like, oh, like this is my tribe, these are my people, because they have the same wounds as you or the same identifiers as you. And your higher self, your higher being is like, no, like that's not right. You are meant to be this like beautiful fool here that can be balanced and free. Like genuinely, like what you want is to be free. And I feel like there's almost this like seeing other people free is kind of like almost like making fun of people who can like fully express themselves, even if it's deemed weird, I guess, because it's more of an insecurity with yourself. Now, I do say this and know that as a person, I'm not saying this about you. This is just kind of what spirit is bringing to light. But know that like those qualities that you see in people, like that is you. You can have that. You can be that, and it can be in your own way where you feel you have a liking towards it, right? And like with this dog looking up, like you are a natural leader, right? So when you free yourself of like feeling like you have to be attached to somebody or certain people, like you will feel like, you know what? I can experience all these different things, go to all these different places and still feel home within inside yourself. And I feel like a connection here is with Levi and everything. Like I feel like this is kind of like giving the vibe off of that. And I feel like you relate to a lot of characters that are like Levi, because it's like, oh, like I see myself in that. Like the thing that like you admire about these type of characters is that like there's a sense of freedom though, even like with all their strength, and they are leaders, but like they can still be like kind and like a leader that isn't like worried about other people's business and how they react to them. And I feel like what good news and good things are coming is you finally feeling like you can release that shame and guilt behind being your true and authentic self, so that you can move on to bigger and better things, into more adventures, into more things. Because like I feel like there's a lot of like, I'm just gonna wait for the next big adventure, or like do something that just gets my adrenaline pumping. Like that's freedom to me. But it's like your life can be lived that way. Like I don't want to say like all the time, because you don't want to be too reckless with just like doing things where you feel like you just don't care, but more so that like, because you don't feel like your everyday is in shackles, it's like I don't need to go put myself in dangerous situations to get what I'm lacking, is like kind of what I am sensing. So all right, so what higher message can we get here with the temperance for pile number 2? I will eat something healthy at my next meal to feed my body what it needs, also for better health. Yes, I definitely agree. I feel like what you put in your body very much affects your mood, and maybe like certain supplementals. I don't know if you take medication or anything, but there may be just like this habit of like not really caring about your body as much as you should, and that like there just feels like this entrapment. And maybe like, I know like the standards with society, like it can be like really hard and it can feel imprisoning, and so like your mood definitely changes by the way your body feels. And when I say like your body keeps score, like your body keeps score of the trauma. So like if you're not replenishing it, or like, you know, giving what your body needs, it's going to be super hard to feel confident about yourself, to feel good, because a lot of people don't tell you this, but 90% of your serotonin is in your gut health. And a big reason, if you want to get into the whole matrix shit, a big reason why our food is just so bad for us is so we stay at a low vibration and just feel unhappy and things like that. So maybe like researching gut health and like how you can eat healthier. And like I know it can feel like so much energy to do that, just because like they purposely make buying the unhealthy food super easy, and we have been conditioned to want instant gratification. And I feel like here with the Page of Swords, you're learning like more patience in all areas of your life. So what higher message can we get here with the Queen of Swords in reverse? I will enjoy the connections with people who love, cherish, and value me. Oh my God, literally so sweet. Yes, like literally what we were just talking about. I feel like you're starting to realize that you need to put more love into your relationships, and that like you can breathe. Like take a breath with me right now. And say, I deeply and completely accept myself. I think something you might also benefit from, which I will link in the description, is called EFT, which is called Emotional Freedom Technique. So if you feel like you can't meditate because it's just too much, or journaling, like you just feel too, like it just won't happen, like, you know what I mean, you just, the defense is, the walls are up, is where you tap on the so EFT is when you tap at your certain, oh my goodness, and you basically talk through whatever trauma, whatever thing that you're trying to get through, and say, you know, even though in the past I have felt like I needed to put walls up to not fully connect or be myself, I deeply and completely accept myself. And Brad Yates is like the founder of EFT tapping. So I will link his YouTube channel down there for you. And like, it has helped me tremendously. I've actually had ego deaths with it. And like, that's not something I ever thought like could happen with like doing something like that. So what messages can we get here with the Page of Swords? Why am I overthinking? I know the answer once I quiet my thoughts. Yeah, so I feel like with this whole patience, like your reactions are so quick too. And that's almost like because your trauma is an injury, right, to your body. And like when it comes up, when you get triggered, those are your reactions from your body. So this is definitely talking a lot about like more self-care is coming. And the good news is that like you're going to be able to love and accept yourself more than you ever had in your whole life, and go back to that that wounded child in there, that like I'm definitely like feeling like some of you in your childhood were called like the deviant one, like, oh my God, there's so much trouble, and you've internalized that and just like accepted that, you know, I'm just like a bad person, or like I just am impulsive, like I just do those things. And it's like, no, you don't have to think that way. You can let go of those belief systems because they were never yours anyway. And really, most of those actions are due to not having enough care and attentiveness from your parents. And I feel like coming into this new transition, you're going to feel like, oh my gosh, like, I don't really know how to act anymore, because like you feel like you still have to entertain the persona, or like image that people have had of you, and that like if you change it up, like you're gonna leave yourself open to bad criticism, or like people aren't gonna like you anymore. But it's actually quite the opposite. And like when you like enter new social situations, it's still going to be a little bit of a learning curve because you're still learning how to treat yourself. But just be gentle with yourself and understand that it's a process when we go through these deaths of ourselves, and that like it's totally okay. And don't let your anxiety run you. Now, I know that's obviously easier said than done, but like recognizing that it is anxiety will help you pick and choose who you listen to. So let's get a higher self message for the lovers in reverse. All right, so we did get 2. Oh, we got 3. I'm giving my best today. I'm showing up and I'm trying, and that is good enough. I will be more mindful of my thoughts. I know my thoughts become reality. And you can always say no to thoughts that you do not resonate with. Just say no, and like literally that's all you need to do. Just say no and stop. There's no but. There's no but what if, but also like no. You say no to those thoughts and move on. If you need to do something, be active to like help you move on from that thought, do it. But know that like once you have stopped thinking about it, you're like, oh my God, like I did that. Like it is doable. And what is my heart trying to tell me that I refuse to hear? Right? Knowing that you don't belong with this group of people or person. You're bigger, you're better than that. And sometimes it's hard to leave people behind, especially when it's like, man, like you feel like you need to save them, or like you feel like you're like, because I understand you so much, like please let me see, be vulnerable. It's like, it's funny because it's like you expect the things from people that like you don't expect yourself, and like you're doing like similar things to these people, but because your heart like wants to speak, it's like your heart speaks out to these people and like the people that you do love and care about. And it's like, I don't know, like not being the mom, but just kind of like you're taking care of somebody else because really you want to take care of yourself, if that makes sense. And then what higher message can we get from the Fool here? We'll allow that one to come. I will not expose myself to negative stories or read awful news. It brings me down to a low vibration. Right, so when you do come into this new freedom sense of like, I want to be different, do not get caught up in the wrong groups again, or a group that may look different but really still mirrors what has happened. And know that like you're not just going to change overnight, and that sometimes you will have to have a little bit of struggle with understanding like healthier ways to protect yourself and healthier boundaries. I will focus on myself. Now is the time for my inner growth. Right, so on this path, this isn't a path to new addictions, new like people that you can have codependencies on. And like this is a time for you to focus on yourself. And this freedom can almost feel really lonely, and the reason why you attach yourself to these types of people is because you all feel lonely, you all feel hurt, you all feel like, okay, well, this person's hurt too, so at least I won't be alone. And when you start to grow and heal yourself, that gets lonely because not everyone is going to do that. And you will realize that like obviously here with the Fool, like they're by themselves, but they do have that little guide dog, that protection, and that spirit saying, I'm here with you. You will have the tools like the staff like to help you you have the tools, you have the wit, you have everything that you need for that moment in time. And like with this night, I feel like there are a lot of revelations come at night, or like I just got sad boy hours, and maybe music is something that you like you listen to, like alternative music and things like that, because like a lot of it does talk about embracing pain and like understanding your pain, and just like a lot of people get their pain out from music. And I feel like even like joking on yourself and like joking about your feelings or something is like a defense mechanism as well for yourself. Like, haha, whatever, like I'm just stupid. But like the way that we talk to ourselves really affects like our reality, because the way we talk to ourselves is the way that we view ourselves. So if we're not patient and kind to ourselves, because the most person that we talk to is ourselves, and especially in this journey, since you will feel more, I guess, lonely, know that when you come into yourself, that doesn't feel like lonely. It feels like freedom. And like you don't have to attach your happiness to anybody else. And the reason why this patience, this new patience and this energy of patience is going to be coming to you is because so when you are with yourself, you'll have the patience to be like, you know what? You are having a mental breakdown, but I still love you anyway. And I still accept you anyway. Like, that's what you need to be telling yourself in your head. Like, even if you're like, God, like, I hate this, or like, oh my gosh, like, I just feel so upset. And just like, I feel so upset, but I still love myself and accept myself. Even if you don't believe it in the beginning, the fact that you're saying that, like, your mind will literally change. So, let's see what questions you can ask yourself to better get answers from yourself. And, so you can continue this journey and go into this energy, because this is good energy. This is good news. Do not take this as like rough criticism or anything like that. Spirit is saying, like, trust me, you needed to hear this because we love you. And like people have showed you criticism about the way you've behaved in the negative sense, but we would never do that. Because you're still human. You know what I'm saying? And you can still represent a specific part of source that can be emotional. Boop. How can I best forgive my past and move forward? Right. I am a spiritual leader that does not preach that you just have to forgive everyone in your past and that's how you move forward and feel better, because that is not true. You need to find your own definition for forgiveness, not what society has put on us, because a lot of religion and just like society has made us feel that like you need to be this like Virgin Mary, goody two shoes, Jesus, like 100% positive and good and nothing else but that. And that's like denying half of yourself, and like it's just not realistic for the dualistic, like the dualistic and polarity of this universe. Like, it would not make sense. That does not make sense, and that is why that doesn't ever work. So, and then you beat yourself up about it because you're like, oh my God, I must be a bad person because like I can't be that, and that is not true. Obviously people still leave out the part that Jesus's wife was literally a prostitute, and that he hung out with the thieves and the people who were rejected by society, because like those things aren't bad. Those were conditions, and people had to learn how to live in those conditions, but it doesn't make them an inherently bad person. And like, oh my God, this always like kind of makes me frustrated, because I always see on TikTok, like, it was then when I realized my parents were just children too. They were just people too. Like, okay, like, no shit. Like, I get that revelation, and that's a good revelation. I'm not denying that. Yes, they are people too. It helps you be more patient about it. But here's the thing. You don't have to accept that. Like, you don't have to be like, okay, like, they just get off with it. And it's like, no, you're not going to find forgiveness in their words. They're not going to be apologizing to you. They're not going to change. And they've shown that to you multiple times. You have to be your own comfort and your own change. Even if, like, I feel like it's hard for people who grew up at an early age, because it's like, damn, I've been taking care of myself this whole damn time. And, like, now it's just like, oh, it's just exhausting. I can feel burnt out. But what is good thing is coming to you is going to be way more peaceful, way less more dramatic, because when you don't have those people there that, like, make everything feel so, like, exhausting and, like, you have to watch your reactions for them, like, you can accept your past, but forgive yourself. Know that you did everything you could with all the information you had there, and those connections were needed at that time. Even if they did cause some suffering, know that you don't have to live in that suffering, because pain is transformation, and it's only suffering when you allow yourself to stay in that pain. Pain is an emotion that we need to go through, and it's a healthy emotion. But suffering, you make yourself suffer when you stay in that emotion and you don't let it flow through you and work through it. So, what other question can we ask for the Queen of Wands in reverse and enjoying connections with others? All right, so we had two come out. What do I need to know about my career relationships? Right, so I think this is also talking about, like, because you are going to be building a whole different foundation, like literally starting from zero, like starting up from scratch here with the page. You feel like your connections need to have meaning. And, like, especially with the career aspect, there needs to be purpose. And it needs to be like, I'm not just connecting with this person just because we met. Like, it needs to be purposeful, and you can't just, like, oh, just because a person has entered in your life doesn't mean that you don't have the liberty or chance to say or evaluate that relationship. Like, do I want this in my life? Like, just because it's been presented to me, I have the decision to use my own discernment and own creative ways to work out that relationship and have your reality curated to who you want in your life. What do I need to know about my pet right now? Yeah, so I think, like, if you did feel drawn to pile number 1, pile number 2, I would watch out. There's probably some messages in there. Because in pile number 1, we did talk about how, like, there may be some restraints on, like, I don't want to leave this pet behind. I don't want to leave this prior commitment behind. Maybe something that was unaffected by, like, not unaffected, but, like, it wasn't their responsibility, like, between two people, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, they're a neutral thing, person, pet, something in a situation. And I also think that, like, this is talking about, like, the things that you control. Because, like, in society, we deem, like, pets, like, animals, like, the things that we take as pets or something that we control and use for our own pleasure. So I feel like this can relate here to the lovers. Like, what do you need to know about who and what you're controlling? And, like, is there a equal give and receive? And this could even mean, like, your relationship with spirit. And, like, if you feel like who is being treated like a puppet here. With all this string imagery here, it feels like I got Poor Marionette, like the song. I forget what artist her name is. But I really like that song. I'm pretty sure I saw her on TikTok. But anyway, so even feeling like a puppet or a pet to somebody or to life, and just being free of needing to be free of that. So I haven't asked yet. What questions can we pile number 2 ask themselves about the Page of Swords that could help them further their journey? Right. What is my secret superpower? So things that we thought at first were like something that was bad about us. Like, I'll use my own example. Maybe you can also relate to this. Is like, I used to think my sensitivity was a weakness, and like my family would always tell me like, you're so sensitive. Like, oh my God, it's so annoying. But really, it's that like I can connect to people and I can understand people and I have the ability to accept people. And that is my own personal superpower. And I think like because of your influence, because of how much your energy and your words have on people, I think that influence, and here with the Fool, like him looking up to that, like that is a superpower and you can use it for good, and you can be start revolutions like Eden Yeager here. I'm sorry. That one like audio of his name, like I cannot say his name normally anymore. But like how like it just all started, like he was never what anyone expected to be. And just like you can start your own like spiritual revolution of yourself. And a quote that one of my favorite tarot readers, Chloe Taylor, says is, when you like live authentically, you inspire and empower others to do the same. So what questions can pile number 2 ask about the Lovers in reverse to help their healing journey and to come into this version of themselves? And know that like you are not broken. I will never say that like in spirituality it's about like being a better version of yourself, because like yes, but like you already are that version. You just need to come back to yourself. You don't hate yourself, you hate not being yourself. What will make me feel more peaceful, right? So when you don't have to worry about other people and you just remove yourself from situations, like what in your environment that you might need to get rid of, or like what certain thought processes or things that like will make you feel more peaceful. And sometimes we can be addicted to chaos, excuse me, especially if you grew up with trauma. How can I create positive changes in my life, right? Understanding your needs and like understanding your triggers and why you have those triggers, and like what you can healthily replace. Because the thing is, when things leave, it's like that void, the desperation to like fill that with something else negative or something that's familiar, so it feels comfortable, because the comfortability makes you feel like, okay, this was the right decision, when really it's like peace and love. When it goes there, it can feel uncomfortable because it's new, but like know that you have felt this feeling before and you can conquer it again. And it's like when it's positivity and happiness, like sometimes it can feel hard for us to want ourselves, like to want that for ourselves, especially if we haven't lived for ourselves. It can feel like a lot of pressure. So what question can pile number 2 ask with the Fool? All right, we got, how can I advance my career? Right. Now that you're not so focused on other people and all these emotions and putting your trauma on a pedestal, you can actually co-create with your life and like be an active participant in your life, and like feel like, okay, like I feel like you are a very natural creative person, and I feel like you're cool, bro. Like you're just like, you got that drip on you, bro. You're just cool. And like your mind works in very creative ways. It's just that like you're just so hell bent on like proving yourself even when people see you as like, but you're already so cool. And it's just like, because your heart knows that like, I can be kinder, I can be way more gentler, and that will make me feel more fulfilled and make me feel that my art means something, and it gives good meaning and good vibrations out to other people. So we will now do the last set of cards, which is the Love Ascended, on to either confirm or have new messages. Because this deck is so tiny, like I have a hard time shuffling it. So let's see what they have to say about the Temperance here in reverse. I knew this would come out. Like, I literally knew it. Oop. Yeah. You are controlling. Control is stemmed from fear. Release what you cannot control. What can we get? Oh. It's too late to apologize. You don't need an apology. The best closure is moving forward on your path. And I also feel like sometimes like when you understand like, oh, I guess I could have been more gentler, or like you get into this new kind of version of yourself, you start to feel the guilt and the shame of like past actions. You're like, oh my God, like I need to apologize to everybody in my life. And it's like, you just moving forward and being a better person, like they need to deal with that situation on their own if they're still hurt, just like you do too. You need to forgive yourself. And as well, that like other people, like you don't need an apology, and like how we talked about that, like you're not going to find forgiveness in another person's word. And it's the same with them, with you. Just move forward and just be better. And I don't want to say that like you're not a good or bad person. Like, I just mean like be more into yourself. Be more yourself. We have don't leave me, not ready to part ways. Right. So with this like new energy, it's like it can be super scary, and it's like like as much as we know what we need to do, it's like we still need to acknowledge the fact that we still have that codependency, and that like, oh my God, please don't leave me. Like, no, like it's your ego. That is your ego talking. It's not your heart saying, no, don't leave me, please stay. Like, your ego makes you think it's your heart. And like usually when we're like, we need to follow our hearts, so like it's like, oh, like this, then I need to stay. And it's like, no, that's your ego saying that like you can't leave, but you can. So what message can we get for the Lovers in reverse? You are always on my mind. Thoughts and memories constantly cycle my mind. So yeah, what I was thinking with this is like, this has been like a cycle. This has been something that's like always like been going on, where it's like, because like there's like it's good, then it's bad, then it's an apology, and then it's like coming back together again, and then it's like, oh no, we're good, and then it starts all over again. Like, it's literally a cycle. And this, like, I feel like also talks about like addiction, and just like being like addicted to somebody, or a certain group of people, or a certain like thing, like, and it's just like the way that your relationship or that relationship plays out, like you're always constantly thinking about it, and like things like that. Right. I need more. What worked in the past is no longer working. Right. And so the good news and good things that are coming to you is that you will be able to move past this emotion and this way of being, and you will be proud of yourself, and you will be like, dang, like I am literally so dope. I had the biggest character development, and literally in Attack on Titan, everybody has the most character development. And some people do turn out in ways that like, you're like, oh, like I didn't really expect that. Whether it's for the good or the bad, like, I mean, those are just those characters. You don't have to like take their stories or anything as your own. Ooh, that's another thing. Do not take another person's story as your own, or their past as your own. Don't hold those emotions for them. Don't hold their trauma for them. And yeah. All right, that's all we have for pile number 2. I hope all of this resonated with you. Good luck, and you have so much to look forward to, and know that I think you're dope as fuck and you're real. This is real as fuck, okay? And people admired real, for sure. So I'll see y'all next time. Hello, my pile number 3. You chose All Might from the anime My Hero Academia. I definitely can sense this pile is just going to be a really good pile. I feel like if you felt drawn to All Might, there is like a sort of energetic connection just to who he is as a character. I will give a little background if you don't watch anime, and if you do, a little recap. So All Might in the universe of My Hero Academia, in the universe where there are superheroes, and he is the strongest superhero in that universe of his time. And a big thing about him is although he holds like a lot of power, he uses it for good, and he's a genuinely good person and loves to encourage other people to use their own like gifts to be a leader and change in the world. All right. So pile number 3, we will be using the Good Tarot deck. And the Good Tarot does not read in reversal. I choose to follow that guidebook rule. But doesn't mean that, like, obviously if you need to hear something, like, I feel like there's this perception if like it's reversal, like, oh my god, that's bad. But no, like, either like rejection of a certain thing, or like a difference of energy is a gift to us, because that way we understand and are more well-rounded, and just all the parts of ourselves needs to be expressed, even the ones that we feel are per se, I guess, either low vibration or just like you just wouldn't prefer that. But we are going to be using the Higher Self deck to get messages from your higher self, future self, in this situation about what good news or what good things are going to be happening for you soon. And then we'll be using the InTAROtgation deck to provide questions for you, so that after this reading, you can ask yourselves these questions to get further answers for yourself, so that you have the opportunity to answer them. Because a lot of spiritual healers and readers, and me as well, will preach that you won't find answers in the outside world all the time. And like the answers that you are seeking are always going to be within inside of yourself. So these questions will help you be able to further continue any healing and whatever you need, basically. And then we'll use the Love Ascended for any like further confirmation or any new messages. So let's just get started. That came out quick. Oh, wow. Oh, these are beautiful cards. And the way that all of this is like coming out so quickly makes me feel that this is going to manifest quickly. Alrighty. Okay. So we have the 3 of Water. So beautiful. I love the Good Tarot is artwork. This was my first deck. And then we have the 3 of Fire. A lot of 3 energies. And then we have the Fool. So this is definitely a new beginning. And then we have the Hierophant. Okay. So I first like to start off with talking with this 3 of water, which talks about community and friendships. 3 is a number of like collaboration. Um, and I feel as though like the new and the good things that are coming in is like new friendships, new connections. I feel like you are somebody who loves harmonious relationships. You love to connect to other people. And I feel like a big thing about you being here, and one thing that you've always felt in life, is that you want to find your soul tribe. Like you feel like you are definitely meant for purposeful things and to be the initiator of things. But I think your heart all along has known that like collaboration and like working with other people is something that you really want to do, and you don't want to just stay in a certain bubble. And I totally got Ariel, and just like with this whole mermaid imagery here, how like Ariel like left her home because she wanted to connect to other people, not just things and places that she's already known. Like she wants something new, she wants something adventurous, and like, but she knows that like what specifically, like she wants like good people in her life and good things, and like you want good things. And I feel like you're very in tune with your feminine energy, or if you don't even feel like you are, regardless of gender, we all have masculine and feminine energy, that like you'll feel a better balance. And then like the good news and good thing that's coming to you is like feeling like you are able to feel your emotions and accept your emotions. And then we have the 3 of fire here. And I feel like this almost gives me chariot and medicine wheel vibes, because this is kind of like talking about like moving forward in a very like unionship with spirit, and just like this like belief and faith that like everywhere you go has a purpose to yourself, and will always like, you take little trinkets and like little things from like maybe you're a collector too, but you take things from like everywhere you have traveled, and they always find, it may even be like a weird item or like just like a weird thing, trait or whatever, and then like it somehow like perfectly fits with like this new environment. Because like with new, like you usually can't bring your past with you, but I feel like it's not like you bring like a whole like big things, like you just bring these little tiny things that fit in with you, with what you need. A big part of this new change that is going to be coming for you is that you're going to be moving into maybe even a new space, but I'm definitely sensing like realizing that like you can move through life and still like, even if some things may not be wrapped up or some things like may not be done, they will fade away on their own. And I feel like you're a person that like really understands the balance of yin and yang, and understanding that you can't control everything, but like there is like more subtle control. And even if like right now you don't feel like there's a lot of control in your life, because I do know that like this past October and just like collectively we've all been going through a lot. And the reason why you can look forward to this is because you will get more peace, you would get more clarity, and like and feel like safe with where you live, and like how you venture out into the world. Because I feel like media wise, like there's always this portrayal that like there are dangerous things out there, and there are dangerous people and just dangerous situations, and like the media purposely like leaves out like the good news or the good things that happen in the world. And I feel like right now like you're finding comfort in like the spiritual realms, or like a certain like spiritual practice, or certain like practice that makes you feel like, okay, like I can always carry home with me, like home is in my heart, and like I'm allowed to be a active participant in life without getting hurt. And like a big thing about this is like, this is definitely giving world energy. Like a bunch of doors have closed and a bunch are opening, almost like being in like this in between stage. But the good news of what's coming is that like you're finally entering the doors and the gates of like the Garden of Eden. And like I feel like a lot of people like are a little bit hesitant about that, because like when they hear any like big religious thing like that, like, oh, like I don't deserve that, like what, like religion has like pushed its agenda that like you have to be a certain way to be accepted into the Garden of Eden, into the Garden of Knowledge, and that like if you even try to get information or knowledge for yourself, you'll be kicked out, which like I think is completely false. I think the universe loves it when you seek knowledge and like try to be more a part of it, and it would never just like reject you. And that's like a big like scam, I feel like, that a lot of religion does. And I'm not trying to push my views onto you or anything like that, but I'm just telling you what spirit is telling me to tell you. So we have the Fool. All right, and that's beautiful. This is like being like in sync with the universe, being whole, and like feeling like you can just like flow with spirit. We even have like, she's a little child and she has like fairy wings. Like this is very much like just like life feels so enchanting and mysterious, and like almost like no matter what life looks like you are the bringer of light, which definitely really relates to All Might. I mean, look at him. He just is always like so happy. And I think like here with the Hierophant, we have the 5, and 5 represents change. As well, this deals with like institutions. Maybe you've been manifesting like a certain move or like a lot of like things in your physical by using your spiritual influence or by using your own like faith. And you can be spiritual without doing the certain spiritual things that like is shown. Like you don't have to have crystals, you don't have to have like dress like a hippie, like you don't have to be a certain way to be spiritual and to represent a certain part of source. I also like see these like 2 rings here. Maybe like someone's gonna come to you with a type of proposal that doesn't have to be romantic, but maybe if that resonates with you, you'll feel it. And like with her arms raised, I feel like this talks about like surrendering and like feeling like you can be open to what comes to you because you put in the work. With the whole like circle in the background here, I feel like this deals a lot with like your confidence and like allowing love and sensuality into your space, and like finally realizing what you bring to the table. And it's almost like you're not like sitting there waiting for an offering, like not like, I just got this imagery of like at a convention, how there's booths and then like people walk down and they get to decide and critique like, is your art good enough for me to buy? Are you like representative enough for me to like you like that? And that is not going to be the case here. I feel like this is more of a like a more of a self thing, and like when you get to lay out all the things on the table, you get to see everything that you bring. And like I feel this also talks about like being a lot more well-rounded and like feeling like you can't just like be like a spiritual go-lucky and then like have to go back to reality with some people. Like I feel like this big change talks about just like living your truth and like being who you need to be for yourself and not for anyone else. And that like with this whole crown, it's just like you'll finally realize that once you allow what you want your reality to be without like feeling the judgment from other people, they'll see how like what the fuck you're doing. Like even if you feel like you don't, like I feel like when you come into this truth and when you come into yourself, people will see you as this like, whoa, like she knows what she's doing. Like even if their life isn't the same as yours, they'll be like, I don't know how, but she knows what she's doing. And I feel like a lot of people feel like they have to like copy people like that, but really all you're doing is just living authentically and you're being yourself. So let's get some messages from the higher self deck on like anything that you need to hear. So what messages can we get from, let me turn these cards back around. All right, what messages can we get here for the Three of Water? I'm giving my best today. I'm showing up and I'm trying, and that's good enough. And I also feel like not like needing to like show up for anybody, and like your soul tribe will automatically accept you and find you worthy, especially when you find yourself already worthy. And that like even if like you don't feel the energy to be able to work with others, if you're going through a transition or a new job where you have to work and connect with a lot of people, like know that like even if you aren't your full best one day, like that was your best for that day. And like there's certain transitions and emotions you needed to express that day, and like that doesn't define like your overall, I guess, like I want to say like work ethic or like what you bring to the table. Like don't be insecure about the different ways that you are presented, because you can't always be perfect. And I feel like in society and like career wise, we're expected to like work out of a place of perfectionism, and then like if it's any less than that, then there's a problem. And know that that's not true. I'm also gonna take this out because it's like the deck introduction. All right, what higher message, higher self, for pile number 3 can we get for the 3 of Fire? How well have I taken care of myself today? I will do better right now. So yeah, I think with this, how the way that these two connect, I feel like there's just this need to be everything for everybody. And like because you crave connection, there is this like symptom of people pleasing, and like you don't want other people to see that like you can be sensitive and hurt by other people's words and like things like that. And like it's just, I feel like there needs to be a more of honoring your feelings more, and like honoring the fact that you can change. I feel like people think like changing is bad, and I think people think change means like something like completely different, new, never seen before. And it's like it's never seen before, but it's like a certain type of a part of you that's never been seen before, but it's still you, and it's always been you. And I feel like change is more of a transformation, like of a shape shifting, if that makes sense. Like change is definitely like not linear. You don't just like, your old self doesn't just not exist, like if that makes sense. Like you have always been a certain representation of source and a certain representation of yourself that has been layered by needing to make sure that like you don't get hurt, or like just having to survive your certain environment. And this may also be like maybe like you're leaving a certain part of a community to go find yourself, and to be able to like almost like going on a hiatus, or like your own like spiritual like pilgrimage. So what message can we get here with the Fool here? What is my heart trying to tell me that I refuse to hear? Yeah. So sometimes like we can get conflicted with what society has already like laid out, right? And we feel like we can't change it. We can't change the systems or society or things like that. And it's like, weirdly enough, for your situation and this just this pile specifically, I feel like a big part of like the good news that is going to be coming forward is like, that is what you're going to be doing. You may be changing systems. You may be advocating for things that like people didn't advocate for before. People didn't give attention to. And now you are wanting to like, okay, like you have a plan to either like, I don't want to say out, but just like bring more light and attention to like a certain subject or thing where you want to put more love and light into it, and have people recognize like, hey, this is important, and we as people need to find this important. Like as humanity, as like a people, we all need to come together and like realize like how important this is, which is literally this. Like, I mean, he's a literal superhero, and like I feel like that is definitely like, you're definitely like an activist. You're definitely someone who's like, I'm gonna bring something totally new, never done before. And sometimes when you hear never done before, it can give you anxiety because it's like, how can you do something that's never done before? Almost like this concept of like, how can you think of a color that doesn't exist? And the thing is, it exists within you. You are that change, and when you embrace yourself and learn yourself more, like things that you just do normally, like you don't have to try. Like it won't be this whole like, oh my god, like I have to invent this whole universe. Like no, it's like just like you brings like a whole difference and light to the universe, which that is like literally so awesome. Like pile number 3, like I would want to be your friend. So what messages can we get here with the Hierophant? I am ready to level up. My next steps will be, exactly, you are ready to level up. And like this whole Hierophant, like this is somebody who does the actions to like do it. I feel like you already are very motivated to make a plan and like make this change happen. And like I feel like right now with the whole Tower moment thing, since things like fell apart, it's kind of like, oh, like I don't have much to work with now. Like what am I gonna do? But if you change your mentality to like, I have so much room to fill, like I have so much to work with, that like I can literally put new life into the situation. And I feel like that is like a big thing. Like I'm just really getting like activism in this, and caring for other people, and like either even caring for a certain group of people, maybe like even like children, just like what makes us human. Like wow, like oh my god, like you are like your own superhero in your own like way, and like I think that's just like literally so beautiful. All right, let's use interrogation to see what questions we can ask ourselves to further get answers that we can ask ourselves, or things of that like. What question can pile number 3 ask about the 3 of water energy? All right, so we got 2. What action can I take to meet the love of my life? Oh my god, that's so beautiful. Oh, I just got giddy. Like, that's so cute. I love love. I think this also talks about this new way of life, is that like, dude, if I literally was like, oh, like I would want to be your friend, like you will definitely attract somebody, because like maybe you're a person who just naturally attracts people, but you're like, I can see through the bullshit. I can see through people like just wanting to use me, and you like feel like, yes, like I feel so great, but I want my like other half. And like, I feel like, you know, maybe you don't focus on love a lot because you're like, oh my gosh, like I have so much more important things that I want to do in life. And I feel like I have this like purpose that like, that love, like, oh, it just doesn't really fit in it because like I feel so much acceptance and affirmation with what I'm doing. And like, you definitely will. But I think the universe is trying to tell you, like, you can have both, you know, like you can have a lover and still be able to focus on yourself. And I think maybe like a past like thing, or like maybe your past self couldn't handle love or rejection, and that like you did get too caught up in love and almost like a love addiction. But now, um, but now I feel like Spirit is saying like you are healthy enough, and like you don't have to be this perfect person to be like to come into union with somebody. But like now that you are ready, and you may think like, what, like not that long ago I wasn't ready. Like I feel like, but you have changed. You like acknowledging the fact that you have changed and you have come into yourself. Like you need to give yourself way more credit than you give yourself. Like with the whole like I'm giving my best today, I'm showing up. Like I feel like you're so hypercritical of yourself, but it's just because you're just such a good person. Like you want to be a good person, and you're just a sensitive being, and that's just like beautiful. And like, whew, I feel like you also might have somebody in mind, or I don't know, like you just like with this, is this a good time to plan a travel adventure? Maybe like this is like talking about love, and like it's just like the the effort to do it, or just like just all the new things that it could bring. It just can give you a lot of anxiety and pressure, because you're like, oh my god, what if I revert to old habits or old ways of being? And it's like, that won't happen. It's just like the fact that you're worried about that too is just like further confirmation that you have changed. Because before, I feel like you like it wasn't even like bad. It was like more of a child like impulsiveness, like oh like I just want to connect, like, and then you kind of had to reel that back. And maybe like a past like relationship really made you like, wow, like I poured so much into this, and like why do I feel more than them? And you just don't want that to happen again. Like you want it to be equaled and leveled out. So what question can pile number 3 ask about the 3 of fire? Oh, this is such good news. Like, wow, your life is gonna do, wow, this is gonna be great. What do I need to know about my finances? Okay, so I think also I feel like this whole activism, this whole like with the Hierophant, like you're somebody, I'm definitely getting like Taurus, Capricorn, Sagittarius, Leo, Aries. But with what do you need to know about your finances? I think that's what you worry about a lot. I think this is what you work on, and I feel like you put so much creative like drive into what you do because you want a certain payout, and you're like I know I can take care of myself. I know that like when I try and do this work, like I will be able to do this. And I feel like maybe sometimes you might hold out on spending, and then you'll spend a bunch at one time, and it just kind of defeats the purpose of like what you did. And so like know that it's okay to have increments of like treating yourself, and as well as rest. Like this seems like there needs to be more freedom, and like you need to give yourself more liberation. What questions can pile number 3 ask about the Fool? Yep, how can I advance my career? Yeah, you're definitely a very career-driven person. Connecting with people, and like, ooh, like maybe helping other people express their own creativeness, or like helping people see themselves in this like light the way that you see them. Almost like you look at the world through rose-colored glasses, and so like or you want to see the world through rose-colored glasses, where it's like you may like be living similar lives to other people, but like for some reason, like this reminds me of like SpongeBob and Squidward because like they both have the same job. They both live in the same like neighborhood and everything. And I feel like the big thing that Squidward is bothered by is because he's like, how are you so happy? Like, how are you so happy and fulfilled with what you do? And like, maybe your current conditions may not match like the vision that you see for yourself. And like, I think that like, there's like this need of like not being so like disappointed if that doesn't match up. Like I feel like there's been some hurt in your heart for like the way that hasn't worked out, but you're just such a persevered like you persevere so much that you continue anyway. I think there needs to be more creative freedom even in what you do. I know you may even feel like, what? Like, I feel like I express myself pretty well. And I agree, but I feel like there needs to be more of a show that, like, you're the one behind the scenes. Like, you're the one that, like, don't be embarrassed of your art, is I guess what I'm saying. Like, be able to feel like you can be out there, like I said, like, wearing the crown, like you may not, it may not seem like that but like people do view you as that, like, whoa, like they know what they're doing, they know what their purpose is, things like that. So what questions can pile number 3? Okay. What do I need to know about love? Oh my gosh, who is in love here? Who is in love? Oh, I don't know why I'm getting giddy. Like, anyway, yeah, this is like, you see with all the different like parts, you need to be able to ooh, Libra came out as well. I don't know why that just came out, but anyway, you can balance all of this. Okay, you need to like understand that like you're allowed to have love, and you are ready. You are ready. Even if your outside environment like isn't like, you feel like that is not going to attract who you want, like, you're wrong. Like, trust me, just who you are and like who you embody is literally, oh my god, I'm like shaking. Like, you're just literally so beautiful and like just a great person, and great people attract other great people. And I feel like here with the Hierophant, it's just like, you can have it, you know what I'm saying? Like, here's my thing about love. Just like how like other areas of people's lives can be like inconvenient, or just like, you know what I mean? It's just like with love, we expect it to be like a certain way. Like, we're like, okay, if this is meant for me, like, it will work out divinely. Like, it won't just like, I feel like you rely too much on the outer circumstances instead of what you feel in your heart. And that like what you feel in your heart, like with love, is enough for like the universe, like, will definitely make it play out and work out in your favor. But you need to be the one to tell the universe and tell whoever that you are ready to receive and that you are ready to be in that space. And the other complicated parts in relationships will work out on their own and in due time. And that like, I feel like the way that you don't give up on other things, you need to not give up on love or a certain connection. Even if like they're maybe like, I don't want to say like things that don't work out, but just like it just doesn't look what you perceive should look, or like I'm just like getting like complicated. Like with the 5 here, like I'm definitely, and just like with like the love, like it's complicated. And it's like we don't want love to be complicated. We want it to be easy, but there will be some like a little bit of like complex things, but it will all move out of the way, or it will all be, you know, different and better. You just have to give it a chance and understand that, like, you know what you feel and the connections that you want is enough for you to pursue it and feel free about it and feel good about it. And yeah, almost like with a trumpet, like calling out to them, or just like that feeling. Okay, so with the 3 of water, what message can we get for pile number 3? Oh, I want you. There is no desire to be with anyone other than you. This is so cute. Number 1. Yeah. So you definitely do have a love interest in mind. And then with the whole I'm giving my best today, I feel like there's some shame and like I guess your outer environment and circumstances, or like the way that you feel like you come off. And Spirit is saying that shouldn't matter. That truly shouldn't matter. Almost like you feel like it's too good to be true for someone to accept you like that, or like to like have that person. I don't know, like almost with like you're like even questioning like if this is something I should even be doing, like I don't know, like, but your feelings are like telling you a different thing. So what does pile number 3 need to know about the 3 of fire? Oh, okay. You have, you're too good for me. Raise your vibration so that you may be in alignment with your desires. Right. So there is like this shame feeling like you aren't good enough. And it's almost here like you are working. Oh my God. Like you're working on your spiritualness so that you can pursue this person because you put them in such a high regard. And that is so cute. And like when it says I'm ready to level up, I'm pretty sure this means that you are in the right vibration to be, because like it says, oh, you're too good for me, but like look, you already are, like you're probably already number 1 to somebody as well. But I think the thing that is blocking this is that you think that you're not too good for them. You think that like you don't deserve that, or it's too much, or like you're overstepping a boundary. But that boundary, like, it's not there. Okay, like that's not the only boundary that you're creating is you. And like there is no competition is what I'm hearing. Just like how this person is like, you're like, oh, there's no competition, it's just you. And like I feel like the same person like feels the same way, just like with the 3 of water, like that talks about connection, and that talks about like I feel like the thing moving forward is like your life just feels more loving, and I feel like this person makes you feel more loving and just makes you like ooh. And then how can pile number 3 advance their career? Ooh, you are controlling. Control is stemmed from fear. Release what you cannot control. Yeah, so like I said, you need rest. Like you can't just like I get like feeling like, okay, like I'm go, and like hard work is what's gonna get me there. And yes, that's true. But there, like I said, there needs to be balance. And like maybe also you're trying to control when this connection happens, or like how it happens. And like Spirit is saying just let it be, and like let your heart be, and like maybe there's a hesitancy because they're like, oh my God, what if it goes too fast and I'm not ready? The universe wouldn't do that. They wouldn't just like, you know what I mean? If there's still stuff that needs to be worked out in the physical, like that will happen. But allow yourself to have little, like I said, having like little increments of things instead of just like going like a bunch without and then boom, like a lot. And maybe like you're in and out with this person as well, like that. Like you'll give him some attention and then you won't because you're, like I said, you're scared and you want to control how you're seen and like you don't want them to not like you. And like, that is kind of what's hindering this connection. It's like saying like, you don't have to control how somebody sees you and you don't have to have control how this connection is viewed by other people as well. Like you're trying to make sure that like, yeah, your heart is definitely saying like, yes, like this is what you want. Like this will give you so much more freedom. And like, I feel like this also deals with collaboration. So like, I feel like with like creative endeavors and just like how much of an activist you are, like the person that you like I'm sure that like you like them because like if you are that type of person, you'll probably like someone else who's an activist in their own way. And I feel like even if you guys don't do the same things, there's still this like there's a connection in like, I don't want to say the back rooms, but like in secret, like, you know what I mean? And like you're afraid if you reveal that like it will cause turmoil or drama, and that's just like something you're not about. So what can we get for pawn number 3, the Hierophant? Change and what they need to know about love. Visiting your dreams. You probably dream about this person. Pay attention to your dreams and their messages, or maybe like fear of like how it's gonna go down, or like is like showing up in your dreams. And like with the what your heart is trying to like what your heart is trying to tell you, but you're refusing to hear, is like you're ignoring your dreams too. Like you understand that your dreams and like all these messages, like there's something there. Like, oh wow, that's crazy. And like your dreams are encouraging you, like saying like it's time, and like it's like stuff is just like playing out. And I think a lot of stuff is playing out in your favor. I love this reading. I think this is so much to look forward to. A lot of happiness and love and light. So that's all I have for you, pile number 3. I wish you well wishes on your endeavors. Ooh, I hope you get your person, and you know, I guess what you take from this could really change a lot for you. So yeah, I'll see y'all next time.